in her vetting. Thomas Nyako Ampim, he's MP for Esiojaman. He's Deputy Minister for Finance-Designate, and he has not done his mandatory national service, and we'll definitely speak about that a bit on the show. Ebenezer Oklete Taylor B, Deputy Minister for the Interior. He's also MP for Lower Menya Krobo. If you recall, that area, they fought soldiers over the installment of prepaid meters. And finally, Samson Ahi, MP for Bodi. He is Deputy Minister for Trade Designate and an experienced parliamentarian. Now, today, those who are expected to be vetted include Dr. Clement Abbas Apak. He is Deputy Minister, Ministry of Education. Richard Jan Mensah, Deputy Minister, Ministry of Energy and Green Transition. And John Kofi Seto Dumelo, Deputy Minister, Ministry of Food and Agriculture. So it promises to be a very, very interesting vetting where these three persons will sit before the committee, questions will be fired at them, and they'll explain to us their vision or what they intend to bring to the table when they go to these ministries. Currently, Dr. Clement Abbas Apak, he is Deputy Minister-Designate, Ministry of Education. He's swearing an oath in Parliament, and he'll be the first to be vetted. Let's cross over to Parliament now and join that feed so that we can follow updates, and then when we return, we'll have a discussion on the vetting.
Touching the matter in issue.
Touching the matter in issue.
Shall be the truth.
Shall be the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth.
And nothing but the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Mr. Nominee, good morning.
Good morning, Honorable Chair.
Remit.
Sharp.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Chair.
Would you take about 2-3 minutes to tell us who you are? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. My name is Clement Abbas Apak. I was born on the 11th of June, 1970. I hail from Doninga in the Bulsa South District in the Upper East region. I am a Christian by faith. I am married with 7 children. I am a Ghanaian citizen. I speak 5 Ghanaian languages, including English, in addition to English. I began my interactions with formal education in Bawa Barracks Primary School in Tamale. As the son of a civil servant, I have a long history of having attended many primary schools. Safe to say, between Bawa Barracks and Sakasaka Primary School, which was the last primary school I attended, I had also attended...
Mr. Nominee, please be mindful of time. I said 2-3 minutes.
I will summarize.
Yeah, and I think you're on your 5th minute now.
I did my secondary education in Sandma Secondary Technical School, now known as Azantulo Senior High School, 6th form in Nandom Secondary School, University of Ghana, where I was privileged to be in the Great Commonwealth Hall. I did my MPhil at the University of Bergen in Norway and obtained my doctoral degree at Simon Fraser University in Canada. I hold a PhD in archaeology, an MPhil in archaeology, an international certificate in archaeology, a Bachelor of Arts in history and archaeology, and a middle school living certificate. Mr. Chair, I think this will suffice for now. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much. And you are welcome once again. I am going to now give the floor to Honorable Minority Leader for his introductory remarks. Leader, you're on the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable nominee, kindly read before you a post made by you in September 2024, and that would be the foundation point for my remarks. Thank you.
Most grateful, Mr. Chair. The post, obviously, is one that I made. It bears my name and my image. And it reads, with your permission, the corrupt, useless, and reckless Akufo-Addo Bawumia MPP government would rather deploy the military to chase phantom grain smugglers than deploy the military to deal with the Galamsey menace. Then again, what do you expect from a government party that is profiting from the destruction of our forests, the pollution of our water bodies, via illegal mining? Is it not evident that the so-called fight against illegal mining by the Akufo-Addo Bawumia MPP government is a hoax? A vote for DMB/MPP is a vote to upgrade the Galamsey menace. Let's rescue and reset Ghana for our collective good. The alternative is the only option. Vote JDM/NDC. Grateful, Mr. Chairman.
My respected colleague, the first paragraph of your statement do you stand by this, or you believe that with the benefit of hindsight you could have used a more measured language as a politician? I understand you made this on the 4th of September in the heat of campaign, but would you say that you could have been more measured in the language you use on first paragraph?
Honorable Chair, with hindsight, I must admit that the language was rather harsh. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much. This comes without doubt, you being of the academia stock, and you've earned my respect. That said, let's have a look at paragraph 2 of the same statement. What are your views on that as well?
Most grateful, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, whilst it is fair to admit that the content of this post could have been better presented, I must admit that it was influenced by the Professor from Boateng statement as contained in the report that was in the public domain for discussion. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
But Honorable Nominee, the Frimpong Boateng report is not before us. In your report, in your post, you said, then again, what do you expect from a government that is profiting from the destruction of our forests and pollution of our water bodies via illegal mining? You see, you are not talking about the Frimpong Boateng report, though it's not before us, was talking about excesses of some individuals, like we have today. Today, your government is less than 2 months, but you know that last week, the minister, Omar Kofi-Boa, came to lament as to certain actions of people who are party members and are doing certain things. So I just want us to situate things right. You know, can we loosely also say that because a constituency chairman is doing something and same is even affecting the image of government, it is the government? So, respected colleague, please give us an appropriate answer in respect of paragraph 2 so that we can make progress. Most respectfully.
Most grateful, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, given the context provided by the Honorable Member, it is only fair and appropriate that I concede that I was rather too excessive in blaming an entire government for the infractions of a few. I'm grateful.
Now, in the last paragraph, the first part of your last paragraph would address it, but the second part of your last paragraph is a political statement. So that one, I will not take you on that, because the first part is a vote for DMB MPP is a vote to upgrade the Galamsey menace. We will deal with that. You did full stop. Then you continue with the second sentence. Let's rescue and reset Ghana for our collective good. The alternative is the only option. Vote JDM and NDC. For that one, it's a political statement. It's normal. You were campaigning. Why not? You are not supposed to sing my praise. But the first sentence of the first paragraph, upgrading the Galamsey menace. Could the language have been different?
Given my responses so far, I would admit so.
Chairman, for the records, I am done with Honorable Clement Akpak. I don't have any question again. It is only fair that when a nominee appears before us, constitutionally he is qualified under Article 78, and key matters that are of controversy, he is honest enough to say he's sorry about it or he takes them back. I do not think that, for my purpose, I have any more to say. I will yield to the expert in his field. Dr. Educhum is here. You know, you are going to deal with education matters. And my colleague Buama and Mustafa and Deputy Leader, they are here to deal with you on other matters. But for me, I am done with you. Save that, I want you to address us on your experience as a parliamentarian thus far in 2 languages, Dagbani and Kasim. So first, share with us your experience as a member of parliament, what you've learned since you entered parliament. Say all of that to us in Dagbani to inspire the youth. When you're done, we go to Kasim, and perhaps we may do Hausa.
Grateful. grateful. Mabe umpoya. Yulinye Clement Abasa Pak. Kanjado Nyama. Manenya MP. Inti Bulsa South. Ne kana parliament ma. Ntumme pam. Nsong. Bulsa South. Nijiama. Ejabi Nyama. Ninya approval. Netum nti. Ghana za. Kariso. Entete za. Umpoya. Na mwene sante. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Honorable Akpak, now in Kasim, let the youth understand that it takes humility to rise to eminence, and it takes industry to rise to eminence. And through merits, you get to higher heights. Let them be inspired by this in Kasim. Thank you.
Grateful, Mr. Chairman. Kasnaba Mama Awaraba. Aya bumu. Aba melone. Ana yetu. Anu non chanamo. Ako mujiburu. Oma nundo nenga. Di biyande na lorbato. Kumamo sere pasiba for school. Sebata sodane. Said na rikete. Se joane. Bade. Back in nona. Ba wamba world manto. Comment c'est comment? Anajeyotu. Anu unko de over school. Akoko de over school. Ama we willene. But the willene. Pa wana have school. Pa zam ayi MP. Ani apak na je. Yo zento. Sata ye. One of his school. Apa ibia sene. Deron oba. Abande. Abajim yo. Atayi MPs. Akama mali langirane. Akinle. Honorable Chairman. Akinle.
Thank you. So finally, there is free SHS. The youth are benefiting. Some parents may not be appreciating the value of free SHS. Say it in tree. Say something in tree to encourage parents that in spite of everything, they should encourage the girl child to attend school and benefit from the free SHS. Say it in tree for me. Free SHS.
Honorable
Talk
Chairman.
about the benefit of free SHS to parents.
Honorable Chairman. Medawasi bebre. Ye nyina ayetum. Say free senior high school. Adepa policy papa. Enti ya wasa yetumi ebo ahomodin na ye mayema no. Womo ko school. Na womo nso daachi. Womo ntumi benya mpenyumfo. Na womo ho abonfaso. Ama womo abusuafo. Ene omangana. Enti awofo ena adofo nyina. Obia mane nemre na oma ne ba enko school ni bi na
Honorable nominee, the woman, the girl child. That's my
ne baba oma ne baba enko school na ye kese de be ma betimi aye no ye nkasa oba betimi aye ye say oba betimi aye amana bruso nti akonya na aba no ye ma ye mama no womonso womonfa so no womonko school Wamonko free SHS ni bi. Na wamonho aso mfaso ama nyina. Beda masi bebre.
And Doc, do you assure the country that the loopholes you find in the implementation of free SHS, you will do all you can to fill in the gap as you promised Ghanaians? I want that one to be also in tree. Then we'll conclude with Hausa.
Yo, minyanum. Me says o hwe free SHS abeya. Ye nyina ya som ye getum. Say adepa. Nanso ye sanso nim say nyoma ba ko mienu bi atochima ho. Eti jonamane mama ne na aban. O ma hya asie na nsen ayi no. Ahye mobo. Say ye be krekre. Say re be ya. Free senior school no. Ebetumi aso mfaso a chain the S1 no. Medamase.
So finally, in Hausa, assure the teachers, the newly recruited teachers who have received their letter terminating their appointment, that, effort will be made to see to it that the concerns expressed about it are addressed. I'm saying concerns expressed. This one is from the chair to you in Hausa. Thank you very much.
Nagode. Nagese kuduka. Kende kunzinna. Akwe waransu tichochi. Nde mungia sofuta kadang se mududuba kende ai ankaos kama ansuzo sugwada yaram daga school ba abinde munche muna kore tichochi ba warangan na abinde ya faru na sini ya beri mungi ya suberi mududu ba se mugeni kende ya sa sun samu acin na in acin na sun samu si bisan hanya nde ya kamata kowa samu aci side ba wahala amma waɗanda acin na ya shiga hannunsu sai takarar da sun tere si an ba su acin na ba takara sosai ba suna ya kamata mu duba cikin ne so kar kowa ya ji tsoro mun gode Allah.
Doc, I think that at this point the youth of Ghana who have lost their employment at the Education Ministry and at GES feel very assured for what you have just said by way of assurance. Thank you very much. I think my colleagues will proceed with yes. Thank you. Chairman, thank you.
Grateful, Mr. Chairman.
Minister, just a second. I'm here to do my opening remarks. Mr. Nominee, Honorable Nominee, you have spoken a few languages here. Some I understand, some I don't, some others understand. But as Honorable Leader said, we are talking to the people out there. So I want you to assure the same people out there that this government will not cancel free education, but it will make it better and enhance it. No, please. In all the languages you have just spoken. Thank you.
Nkobisale mabisa. Mapusi ni mena. Mede lani bika Dr. Clement Abasina akalninin. Ma kan bisi ti busnga mena liwa mena tini wom. Anjo mama litwesi namula. Adamanga gungopola. Wa mena abasu suyok. Upezinkan nare. Ale free SHS wa. Te kanti kweku. Tenti gumuskuma. Atuku niyak. Tuku mawa mena. Manyeni jam. Minu yanu mwa moshe. Micheo biya. Meisha mobo. Sere mampini jonamane mama she. Gane nyina bono. Se free senior high school. Policy no. Any program no. Won twemu ne won twemu ochina. Ono aka se aba ye nyina yasom na nioma ato chima ewo ho aye nyina yenim se ekrakra ebe mana asom foso a che mfaso a yeso no ebe krakra te ma obi ambo hu free senior school die aba ye nyina nso yeso mmabe Mpoya. John Mama. Mwone nyate president. Ni yalia. Ni free senior high school ma. Dimbene. Oko sanle. Anina. Awara mama. Diko jo mama. Didani NDC. Wa tabra mama. Wo free senior high school kuna tutu. Oba lai ochoko. Ojako. Ozere. Kona ke yekuba ma de mama ne akudna lateto. Oja ku mama chiku weldema akama mali. Honorable, which language is left? Very well. So I've done Buli, I've done Kasem, I've done Chi, Mabe Mpuya. Mbar menen yelia. Ne John Mama. Won kanama. Dabiam kane. Free senior high school ma. Obian sarnle. Dimbene. Mpoya. Mr. Chairman, I want to add Wali as well. Mbamine mamine. Yansuma. The back John the man mama on wangane. When NDC government ne. Kata evenka epelanga teora. Ka free senior high school ma. Free senior high school. Kan yele. Ko kon sam free senior high school. Ko na malon ko viala. Kata nyotona. Atwa malagana ja. Mpoya ja baraka. Grateful, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nominee. I'm now going to open the floor, and I will call in the former Education Minister. Mr. Minister, you have the floor.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Congratulations to the nominee on your nomination as the Deputy Minister for Education. I know where you are going, and I've sat in that seat before. I know you didn't get the time to also tell the country that you spent part of your youthful days in my famous hometown, Jachi. And so you and I share some relationship in regards to that, even though you were my fiercest critic whilst I was at the Ministry of Education. Honorable Nominee, Honorable Chair, I'll be grateful if the nominee can speak to us about the state of STEM education in Ghana today. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the honorable member is right. Indeed, I did spend some time in Jachi, and I attended Jachi Anglican Primary School. I must put that on record. Mr. Chairman, STEM is the future. STEM is an abbreviation that stands for the study of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Indeed, STEM education in Ghana is in progress. Clearly, the previous government had done some good work in that area. As a member of the Education Committee in both the 7th and 8th parliaments, I have sat through meetings and presentations and have participated in the approval of facilities aimed at promoting STEM education. The Chairman, as we speak, I am aware that we currently have 10 STEM schools at various levels of completion. My briefing informs me that one has been completed and indeed is operational. If we are to make progress as a nation and to take advantage of and to prepare the future of this nation, which is our wards, our children, to participate fully in the 4th industrial revolution, we must continue to invest in STEM and to expand facilities to ensure that every Ghanaian child benefits from STEM education. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Minister, a follow-up or your next question?
A follow-up, please.
Okay,
I
please
think,
go ahead.
in terms of the briefing, 7 schools are operational and more to come. So that's 10 schools. That's just for the record. But I also would like, Mr. Chairman, with your permission, for the honorable nominee to share with us how their STEM is capital intensive. How is he going to support his minister in terms of mobilizing resources to make sure that the STEM agenda will continue? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Most grateful, Mr. Chairman. Indeed, my minister has already made a number of significant public statements with regards to the educational sector, and in particular, his willingness and readiness to build on what has been bequeathed to us by the previous government. Clearly, STEM is a capital-intensive endeavor, and we cannot rely on only government or public resources if we want to succeed in the manner in which we all anticipate. So if my minister was to seek my opinion, I would suggest that in addition to mobilizing local resources, we reached out to bilateral and multilateral partners, as well as donor organizations, to support the effort. I know, for example, that the MasterCard Foundation has played a significant role in supporting the government and the Ministry of Education, and I think we can shop around for similar organizations and institutions to support our effort to promote and perhaps mainstream STEM education. I'm grateful.
Honorable Former Minister, before you go on to your second question, would you please let me allow Honorable Roxon to do a follow-up on your question? Thank you. Honorable Roxon, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman. Now, Dr. Park, the concept of STEM schools, is it new? I am aware that when we were in secondary schools in the 90s, government introduced what we call the science resource centers, resource facilities, and even added buses. Now, how is that different from, so essentially the STEM as a concept, is it new?
Honorable Chair, the short answer is no. The concept of STEM is not new, but the concept of STEM schools is new.
Now, if the concept of STEM and STEM schools is not new, can you briefly tell us when STEM was introduced into our educational system in this country? Briefly.
Very well, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I don't have this information immediately available, but I am certain that the concept of STEM is not new. I'm grateful.
Chairman, that will be all.
Thank you very much. Mr. Minister, please continue with your second question. Thank you.
My second question, Honorable Chair, is to ask the nominee, based on his briefing at the ministry, what subjects have been offered in the STEM fields that has never been offered in this country before.
Grateful, Mr. Chair. Indeed, I have become aware, both as a member of the Education Committee of the 7th and 8th Parliaments, and from the briefing, that a number of subjects have been introduced, and they include biomedical engineering, aeronautics engineering, manufacturing, agricultural science, and I believe, yes, these are the ones I can remember for now. I'm grateful, Mr. Chairman.
Please, you please answer the question if you haven't done. Oh, you going
Which I have.
You going for a third question? All right, not a follow-up, a third question, and that will be your final question. Yeah. Please go ahead.
Honorable Chair, thank you for the opportunity. My last question is on the implementation of the free senior high school, specifically on the feeding of the students. We've heard a lot of things during the campaign time, manifesto time. I want to find out from the nominee, based on his briefings, how are the students going to be fed by your government? Thank you.
Grateful, Mr. Chairman. Indeed, one of the topical issues that dominated the 2024 electioneering campaign was the way forward with regards to how best to address some of the challenges affecting the free senior high school program. And one of them was in the area of feeding. The Chairman, as I speak, the current arrangement, which is temporary. I say temporary because the John Dramani Mahama-led government is yet to present a budget. So the intervention that has been made at the moment is to provide resources to the heads of the institutions to procure food to feed the students. That is the current arrangement. I'm grateful.
Mr. Minister, I believe you've exhausted your question, unless...
Yes, you are done.
You've done your 3 questions. Thank you very much.
Follow-up to what?
A follow-up to your 3rd question.
And to congratulate him.
You are encouraging him to do a follow-up, or he wants to do a follow-up? All right, okay. Minister, go ahead.
Honorable nominee, I congratulate you in advance, and I believe that when you sit in the seat at the ministry, it's going to be an interesting one. But you can always now call on the Education Committee, and we'll support you to succeed. Thank you.
I'm grateful, Mr. Chairman, and I'll do just that.
Thank you very much. Minister, I will now yield the floor to Hajia Ladi, then after I'll come to you. She wants to do something.
Thank you, Chairman. Sanda zuwa.
Sanukurema.
Tambayan da zan yi maka yanzu ga cikin Hausa zan yi. Kuma ina son ka mayar mini cikin Hausa, cikin Dagumbanci, da cikin Buli. Uku nan nake so ka mayar mini. Yanzu haka ga akwai tambayan da aka tun riga aka tambaye ka. Da ya zamana bisan free education na secondary school. Bisan wannan zambi ka sasata muna game da yanda za ka amsa mini. Daya, an tambaye ka aka ce, free senior high yana da kyau ko bai da kyau. Yanzu, katun amsa, free senior high yana da kyau. Amma akwai abin da ya kamanci a yi ciki. Akwai abin da muka ce an yi, inda aka ce an review. Ina son ka sassata ne, me yasa za a review, me aka gan ciki aka ce an review free senior high. Mu yan NDC.
Nagode ma. Abin da ya sa an ce and review free senior high school na bawe be the choba ena the chob ama anka gani ken the program na da ya zonna wurin da yaran na sun kwana wahala ne yonga da muna firanga ba school duka ne yaran na duka suna te gabadiya sai su zo gida gabadiya ba waransu sun te waransu suna gida abinda ya sa na wurin da sun kwanan na ba kowa ne ya samu fili ya kwana ba na biyu wurin abincinsu sima yara na waransu abincin na bai kai su bai yawa ba watakila kuma abincin da an ba su na abinci guda kere an ba su sinkafa kamar bakwai guda suna ci sinkafa kere sima ya kamata sai ba mu amfani sai ba mu amfani amfani da muna samun na the other language ajiya
Chairman, Chairman, point of order. Point of order.
Very well. Chairman. Very well. Chairman.
The question should be asked.
Is in China school. In Kanayina. Shabi Changla school. Kashabi Bayinga. The Malamoso. The Parliament Nebezachin school. Kabazalan Kanayina. Anya Bima Bendrume. The Malamoso. Bima Sheba Bendruma. The Beparba. Kasheba bunto tiba sinkafa bakwai kabidiri sinkafa de menyala musugo te parlement ne tenel kat viala kabima ja chansku lamna yinga kam bindir gumame kabito dintre
Mr. Nominee, please keep your answers short.
But Honorable Chair, this is Ghanaian language.
Well,
it has to make sense if I don't put the context.
Yeah, but please keep them short.
Very well.
Yes.
I'm grateful.
Chairman, he's not done. He's done.
Ajia gave another language. Mapusin Komamina?
Mr. Nominee, if you are done, please put your mic off to signal that you are done.
Very well. But there's one more question.
Yeah, sure.
No, she asked me in 3 languages. I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
Yes. Honorable members, the rule is if you speak in any other language other than English, which is what we use here in Parliament, you must actually interpret it in English. Now, if you speak any language here, the report will not capture it. The leader who asks questions in other languages stated categorically clear that he doesn't want those questions and answers to be captured. So if you speak any other language here today, just know that it will not be captured in the report. But you are free to do so.
Chairman, let me refer you to Standing Order 63 on language of proceedings. That the proceedings of Parliament shall ordinarily be conducted in English, except that a member may exercise the option to address the House in a local language if facilities exist in the House for interpretation by the member or for contemporaneous interpretation. It's a very clear provision. How, if any member so desires, that member must inform the leadership for you to make available facilities for interpretation. If not, those questions and answers will not find space in the report.
Well, I think what I've said is exactly what you are saying. It's clear. If you speak in any language that is not interpreted into English, or we don't have facilities here to give that interpretation, it will not be captured in the report. And the leader who started with the language thing himself was very clear that whatever goes between him and the nominee in any other language should not be captured, and it will not be. So what I've said applies to everyone. Hajia's question and answer will not be captured. But she's here. If she wants to speak, interpret it in English, I will allow it for it to be captured. Otherwise, it will not be. So that's my ruling. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Hajia,
Chairman.
please continue.
I am ready and willing to say what the question was in English. But let us understand here and put it on record that this is not today that we started the issue of speaking the vernacular on this committee, and that it was yesterday that it was started. So if for interpretation purposes, it's not a big deal. My question to the nominee was, he had already responded to the fact that free senior high school is good to go with. It's a good policy. Yes, it is a good policy to go with. But he should tell us, he should be able to tell us exactly what it is that the NDC had said that they will review the free senior high school. He should tell us what things are wrong with it or what is in it that would have been reviewed. And I think that, and the issues, that is what is there that is to be reviewed. So he has gone on to respond to me by telling me some of the issues, not all, that we
Honorable
have.
member, please address the chair.
He has gone on to tell us, and for that matter, the whole world, about issues of accommodation, issues of feeding, where he mentioned that sometimes children are fed with the same meal. That is where this your abinchi you are mentioning, food, rice, shinkafa, the whole week. People supposed to be in school, or students, they are supposed to be in school for, let's say, 1 week. And when they go 2 days, they are back home. So they are not able to stay in school as required. These are the responses that he has given in the two languages that he had interpreted, he had given to me. So, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to tell or to say what exactly, because I want it to be captured. My second question, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable, hold on. I will want the nominee to respond in the answer he gave in the language that he gave that answer in English, so that your question and his answer will both be captured. Thank you. Mr. Nominee, please answer the question you have just answered in English.
Grateful, Honorable Chair. The Free Senior School Program policy is a good policy. The challenge that we find with it, for which we have spoken about improving and sustaining it, in other words, reviewing it, is to do with the implementation. And in my response, I listed 3. One was the issue of accommodation, which of course gave birth to the double track system. The second was in the area of feeding, where we have complaints about inadequate food and sometimes students being fed food made of the same staple, sometimes for a week. And then I also spoke about the sometimes erratic calendar, where you expect the students to be in school for a given period of time, and halfway, they come home. So I listed these as some of the reasons why we think we need to take another look at the policy implementation so that we can address them to maximize the benefit that we are already driving from the program. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much. You have a follow-up. Please go ahead, Minister.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Chairman, I want to find out from the nominee, because he mentioned that the gaps that they identified, double track is one of them. I want to find out from the nominee how many schools in Ghana goes through this double track as at now.
Grateful, Mr. Chairman. Per the briefing I received, we currently have 709 senior high schools and 241 TVET schools. If you put that together, it works out to about 900 schools. Of the 900 schools, about 600 of them are still practicing double track, but it is now called the transitional system. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
That's your follow-up. You done? Is your response? I won't allow you, Minister. I will come to you, so please wait patiently for your time. Yes, Honorable Leader, you can do your follow-up.
Mr. Chair, Honorable Nominee, one of the things I want to find out from you is that if you are reviewing, that we have an erratic timetable, but I know that the ministry was always coming out with a timetable. So I'm wondering whether you have an instance where that kind of table that were issued out were varied without any consultation. Thank you.
Grateful, Honorable Chair. I don't know the justification for the erratic academic calendar. What I know is that students have come home on more than one occasion, and I speak to this as a parent whose ward is currently in the system and another ward who went through the system. They come home at times that we do not expect them to come home as per the announcements that were made for them to report to school. And I believe this will be attested to by many parents. So whatever the causal factors are, we ought to identify them and then fix them. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nominee. Please, going forward, can you please make your answers as brief as possible, please? Aja.
Thank you, Chairman.
You have a last question.
Yes, please.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. I would want to find out from you, Mr. Nominee, on the issue of the reintroduction of PTAs, Parent-Teacher Associations, in schools. What is its importance? And how do you intend to support the PTAs so that they can grow and do well as expected of them? I will be grateful if you can give me the responses in Twi and Hausa, and then you interpret it. Thank you.
Grateful, Mr.
Please,
Chairman.
yes. Go ahead.
PTAs, Equa awufo omoma ewo school enkabomu eno na e friend no PTA na ye nyina nim say PTA no eye Equa eboa ema schools no etumi ehwe yankwara no so yie na enche bia na PTAs no jumana na omudi no na enye ni nyina ena omutumi edi enti yebeye no PA na abafufro abai wase wasadi e na aka ho enti abeye PTA na ri enti a PTA ewo mfaso no se school no bibi ewo ho na se ha adwen ana se tochima awofo no etumi edi hu enkomo na emua bi o mbetumi di aboa ama saa dia na ha adwen no o ma krakra no o ma krakra yenim say so ko schools ne bia PTAs omutumi esidan se school nkwara no eni nkonya omutumi eyantoboa na omode aboa atonkonya ama nkwara no ebi kura nso owa omutumi toka edeche school no nkwara no nso bi wo amaso odin enti eba ne sa no a awofo no nso etumi boa achechefo no ema enkwara na omaso odin a ebia omoni ye emwa adesua no yetumi akasa akire omo ama omasesa omusuban enti PTA mejidi se ade papa de se abanfufro no se PTA serious na tie dada no yensa anya ne saa mejidi se ade pa na gese ko wakuma John Mama government is the Azongana. Where PTA dan the answer chisi yazu ye PA na ya kawo PTA na kuma PTA kuma mun sani na da amfani ina tanye school yara ina tanye school na kuma akwai school sai school na ba kuzeru ko ba lori PTA na sun yiya su gani zuna sai su bida kudi su sai kuzeru su ba school na ko su sai lori su ba school na PTA ina da amfani sai ni ya sa John Mama ya ce shi ya zo ganna acin da PTA ina yin na sun yi su yi kuma na ba ku godiya. To it, what I have said is that the reinstatement of the parent-teacher associations to free senior high school status is positive. That has been done because we all know the roles that PTAs play. when schools have challenges, parents can have a dialogue with the teachers and find ways to try and assist the schools in addressing some of those challenges. PTAs have contributed to build infrastructure to support education service delivery in schools. We know of instances where PTAs have even procured vehicles to facilitate transportation for schools and students. And indeed, in many cases, they've also contributed to procure furniture and to supply to schools. Even in instances where some students misconduct themselves or exhibit deviant behavior, would a collaboration between parents and school authorities, they are able to address some of those challenges. So I believe very strongly that the benefits of PTAs justify the decision by the current government to reinstate them the way they used to be. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much. I'm going to yield the floor to you, so I can't let you do a follow-up. So, yes, Honorable, if you want to do a follow-up,
yes,
then after I'll come to you, Honorable Minister.
Honorable Nominee, I think we need to come out clear about the PTA issue. If I listen to you carefully, I get the sense that the contributions made by the PTA is what you are referring to. But PTA was never cancelled. I'll give you a typical example of my alma mater, where PTA built a dormitory for the school. It was never discouraged, and it was never cancelled. So I wonder which examples you are giving as a clear evidence of PTA being cancelled. I don't know. Is it the dues, the assistants? I know as for the assistant, the dues, at a point in time, it was stopped. But the difference, the PTA as support for the schools and everything, was never done. It was never cancelled.
Honorable Leader, yes. As you know, this is a House of Records. Yes. You did mention your alma mater. Would you please tell us your alma mater, where you are using as a reference?
Sorry, it's St. Louis Senior Secondary School. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Another intervention. That's good.
Okay, is it in line with?
Yes. It's in line.
Okay, please, let's. Yeah, please go ahead, Honorable Shaibu. Intervention.
Honorable
and please
nominee,
keep it brief.
Is it the case that PTAs, as we used to know, have been totally defunct, maligned, or completely jettisoned?
Honorable Shaibu.
Jettisoned.
Out of sports. Thank you.
A follow-up from me.
I yielded the floor to the Minister of Sports.
Oh,
Mr. Minister, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, first of all, let me also add my voice in congratulating the nominee, who is my neighbor. We share boundaries, my constituency and his constituency, we share boundaries, and we've been very, very good friends. So I want to congratulate him. I want to congratulate him for his nomination. But I'll go straight to my question. Mr. Nominee, your government promise the good people of this country that once you are in power, you give free tuition and admission fees for all first-year public school, tertiary schools students, universities. So I want to find out from you, when will this promise start? Thank you.
Grateful, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable nominee, you haven't yet gone into the ministry. You are not a policy maker. You are going to follow your minister, support your minister. You may, okay, honorable members, honorable nominee, you may answer the question. You may. And please, brief, because you are not going to be the policy maker at the ministry. So keep your answer expected of a deputy minister designated. Thank you.
We interrupt the vetting to cross over to Parliament, where Kwabena Mintah Kando, Minister of Health, is addressing Parliament on the BBC investigative broadcast where they showed that youth in Tamale are abusing the use of opioids.
Let me start from Kwali-Krote. Honorable Dr. Zinato Ajama-Rawlings.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the statement made by the Minister of Health. Mr. Speaker, Ghana is well known to be a hub and a transit point for illicit drugs. But this particular phenomenon that we're witnessing is quite shocking, actually. As a matter of fact, in my constituency, we have a cluster of schools, the Niamugi cluster of schools, where people who are addicted to drugs have actually invaded the premises, where they harass children, they harass the teachers, and recently, in the last 3 weeks, one of the security personnel in the school was attacked by a gang of drug addicts and is now in 37 military hospital in a coma. Mr. Speaker, the ramifications of this illicit drug inflow into Ghana goes beyond the large scale, but it's affecting people's lives. It's affecting the security in our schools. It's affecting the security of our ordinary citizens. And Mr. Speaker, the law enforcement agencies responsible for this need to be strengthened. We had, up until a few weeks ago, collaboration between the U.S. government, specifically narcotics and law enforcement affairs, with the government of Ghana, helping to combat some of this transnational crime and illicit drug use. Since the suspension of this, Mr. Speaker, I believe that may have contributed to what we are seeing. We need to re-engage some of these international agencies and strengthening our capacity to monitor what's going on in our borders and ensure that when we actually do track down these criminals, the prosecution of them and effective implementation of our regulations is actually done in order to be a disincentive for those who wish to use Ghana as a transit point. Our youth are really increasingly becoming a target of all of this. And Mr. Speaker, this is a national security issue because it affects our country in so many ways. It's affecting so many sectors, and it will probably require a whole, multidimensional approach in order to actually effectively deal with this issue. Mr. Speaker, this matter is something that's affecting a lot of communities. My constituency has a very high level of addiction, has a lot of young people who are addicted to drugs, and unfortunately this is an issue that has been swept under the rug for too long. And it is my prayer that given the expose that has happened, the global embarrassment that we see now, we will take this issue very seriously, the issue of addiction and mental health and how we address the way drugs are used in this country. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Let me start with my senior member for Asante Achem Central.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And may I congratulate the Minister of Health for the statement
he's made to the country in drawing our attention. Mr. Speaker, I pardon my ignorance, but it looks like this opium is becoming a serious matter in the country. I heard the minister talk about the fact that some arrests were made. They were taken to court, and the court gave an order that the substance be destroyed. I, however, didn't hear whether that was effected, the destruction. Another serious matter is when something that is not good for the country is directed to be destroyed, and yet it finds its way back into the country. So from the minister's statement, one would realize that the law enforcement agencies are already working. But I would want to draw the minister's attention that customs, they control the borders. And I didn't hear the minister also talk about the Narcotics Control Board, which we have in the country. I did not hear, that's what I said. So I would want the minister to work very hard so that these two institutions would collaborate, because when they are found into the country, it is very difficult to control. The police may not be able to track all, but when they are coming into the borders, they have to know. I haven't seen one before, and I believe that some customs officials may not even know what kind of substance we are talking about, unless they have to be trained. So the minister must make this conscious effort so that there will be collaboration between the Narcotics Control Board and the Customs Excise Division to make sure that this menace is brought to a halt. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Let me go to Professor Bayo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I want to commend the Minister of Health and the Ministry for the swift action, and the agencies under the ministry for handling what appears to be a national public health crisis. Mr. Speaker, opioids are good servants but bad masters. They are drugs used to manage moderate to very severe pain, and they are therefore very useful in the health system. However, if unregulated, they can be very devastating. These drugs, when consumed, work on the brain and bring what we call euphoria, which is what they will call in lay term the high. And therefore, they also exhibit something we call pharmacologic tolerance, which is that with subsequent consumption, you need to take higher doses to have the same effect. So the youth who engage in these drugs easily get addicted and have to take higher doses to get the same effect than before. And they are causing a lot of damage to our youth. The issue raised by the BBCI investigation, in my view, smacks of deliberate poisoning, because these drugs were not made for any medical purpose. They have never been used anywhere. And the combination is a terrible combination of a potent maxillary relaxant and a very addictive opioid. And when you take these two combined in one formulation, it is unacceptable. So I want to commend the ministry for what they are doing. And for us as a people, our biggest concern is that addiction will have a serious drain on us. Addictions are better prevented than managed. As a country, public rehabilitation centers are not more than 3. We have very few rehabilitation centers. And the outcomes of rehabilitation, especially of drug addiction, is also not very promising. For every 10 patients who go through rehabilitation, just 3 to 5 may successfully get out of it. Relapse is very high. So for those who get hooked onto it, getting out becomes a serious challenge. I would therefore want to commend the ministry, but ask that serious intersectoral collaboration is needed. This is as a result of pure regulatory failure. This House has passed several laws, including the Narcotics Control Commission, their act, the FDA Act, and all these empower state agencies, the Ghana Police Service, Pharmacy Council. But what is happening is that it looks like almost all these agencies have failed us in one way or the other. And so I would urge the minister that as they are going through the administrative processes, we should also ensure that the criminal processes are followed. Because if you bring an unregistered drug into the country, it's a crime. And those who commit that crime must be punished. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Yes, let me listen to.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want
you didn't even wait for me to mention your name. Anyway, let's hear you.
All right. Mr. Speaker, I want to commend the minister for bringing to the attention of the entire country this national canker. Indeed, the opioid intake in our country is a worrying trend. Mr. Speaker, now what the youth do is that they do not only take the tramadol, but they mix tramadol with energy drinks, which contributes to the highness. I mean, and virtually every assembly of young people that you see in this country, you realize that that practice is going on. I mean, in my constituency, sometimes you find out from the young people how they are able to get tramadol, and they tell you that now tramadol even they have ghettos, like the way weeds are sold in ghettos and all of that. People have tramadols in their bags, and at all times when they need it, they apply it. Mr. Speaker, it's a challenge. I remember when I was involved in an accident, and I was admitted at Ridge Hospital. The intake of opioids was quite regulated, but you could easily get it. I mean, they can prescribe it for you, the doctors will prescribe it for you and all of that. And at a point, even me myself, I was nearly getting used to it. I mean, every time when the pain comes, ring bells, calling on your doctors to, as it were, prescribe the medicine for you. But Mr. Speaker, last year when I traveled to Germany for another medical procedure, before you are prescribed an opioid, you need to go and see a pain doctor. And when the pain doctor prescribes for you the medicine, and you take the medicine to a pharmacy, you will not get the medicine on the counter of the pharmacy. So what they do is that you submit your prescription to the pharmacy, and you are given a period of 6 hours to come back for your medicine. Then we asked them, why do you do that? What we found out was that such serious drugs are not found in the pharmacies. They are regulated, they are controlled somewhere. And so if you bring your prescription, then they now send your prescription to those centers, and it gets delivered to you. So when that is done, then the entire ecosystem of opioids is regulated. But in our system, that is not what is happening. Every pharmacy that you go, when you mention that you want tramadol, you will get it. When you mention that you want pitidine, you will get it. All the very, very high drugs, when you mention to our pharmacists and present to them a prescription, such prescription, you don't even know hospitals that are prescribing them, whether they are coming from proper doctors or people sat in their homes and just use some coral draws or some papers to prescribe them. We don't even know. So we ought to look at it very well, Mr. Minister, how we control such drugs in the system. It's very important. And for me, I think we need to start punishing pharmacists that easily release these drugs to our young people. It is destroying our youth, and I think it's important that we find a way of, having a more stricter controls in the release of such drugs. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, let me come to Felicia. Quintampo South.
Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to contribute to the statement made by the Honorable Minister. Mr. Speaker, 7 parliaments have made a statement about tramadol. Tramadol, I don't know how it got into the system. I remember one time I was going to my normal campaign and I met one gentleman. The guy was almost dead. In fact, when I saw him, I thought the guy has passed out or something. So they were like, oh no, Honorable, he's fine, he'll be okay. I said, okay, at least let me take him to the hospital. They said, no, we should leave him like that. Honorable, he'll be fine. And true, Mr. Speaker, I came back in about 5 hours time, then I saw the guy sitting down eating. Then I said, why? What happened to him? They say it's tramadol, but they call it tramon. At the village, that's how they call it, tramon. And Mr. Speaker, you see those boys that they use bicycle going around in our communities. Some of them use motorbike. They sell all kinds of medicine. They can give you medicine for anything. Mr. Speaker, yes, they can give you medicine for maybe white or infection. Mr. Speaker, the last time I went to America, I think it was around spring, and I always have allergies. And there's this medicine called Claritin D. Then I realized that when I was going to buy it, I buy 1 pack, and I said I wanted to buy 2 so that I don't have to go back to the pharmacy. They told me that no, I even have to show them my ID. And there are certain communities in Ghana here that tramadol, they sell it over the counter. Meanwhile, it's a prescribed medication. I was sick and they gave me Dorita. Then I asked my doctor, I said, you gave me this medication, but I've been sleeping like all day. That was when I realized that Dorita have tramadol inside. Mr. Speaker, honestly, it's about time. I thank the Minister of Health. It's about time for us to take charge and control over this tramadol because it's destroying the youth. Just recently, I found out that tramadol, they have about 25 or 250 milligrams. Mr. Speaker, I know people that take this medication or this medicine, and it's really destroying our youth. Because when they take it, I heard that it can, anybody who's trying to, who is doing farm, the tramadol, when they take one, it can help them to read about maybe 1 acre. And the person is 30 years. When you see the person is 60 years. The tramadol is really destroying our boys, especially the youth. I'm very glad that the minister is here and he made a statement himself. Right, Honorable Minister, in fact, we believe you, we trust you. That is why you are here. Because, Mr. Speaker, this is long overdue. Mr. Speaker, we thank you so much for the opportunity and thank the Minister of Health too. Thank you so much.
Yes, you are a pharmacist, eh? Are you a pharmacist?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, let's hear you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And let's thank the maker of the statement, the Honorable Minister for Health. Mr. Speaker, each one of us will experience a certain type of pain one way or the other in our life. So the need for a pain medication is critical. So all of us will one day need a muscle relaxant. So the need for us to have muscle relaxant in the system is also critical. But what we are seeing in Ghana, this opioid crisis that is about to hit us to the level that it can be likened to dropping the atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Mr. Speaker, the tapentadol, the brand name is Nucynta. That was first approved in the United States in 2008 and 2011, has been in existence. They call it class 2 drug. It's because the level of addiction is even higher than the tramadol. And it's been in existence and they've been using it. So when you go to the carisoprodol, which is the muscle relaxer, it's one of the oldest drugs that they have generics on it. They've been using all this while. Mr. Speaker, the issue here is one, this statement should have even been done in collaboration with the Minister for Interior. Because it's not only the health minister's issue, it's issue of export and import. So that is the first issue. If we can regulate our customs and our ports, then we'll be able to find what is coming in and what is going out. Because this active ingredient, Mr. Speaker, could even come into the country as a raw material before it can be produced. It can be used to produce into the drug. So this statement, I believe that we should have the Minister for Interior and the Minister of Health give us a joint strategy as to how they are going to curb this menace. Mr. Speaker, after that, then we will come to what we call the local manufacturing industry. The pharmaceutical industry locally is supposed to be strengthened and be given enough resources so we can start producing these drugs within our country and we can properly regulate it. If we are not allowing, because they are generics, these drugs are not brand new drugs, they are not the original brands of the drug coming from India. They are generic drugs. Sometimes you have countries like the United States, Europe, and others, they're coming out with these new drugs, and we tend to produce the generics. This country has enough aspects that we can build their capacity and build the local pharmaceutical industry with enough resources so we can produce it here. In that case, we can have a proper supervision. When we produce in here, then the issue of internal regulation becomes something between the Food and Drugs Authority, the Pharmacy Council, and the Medical and Dental Council, because it's not only the dispenser. We can have the pharmacy dispensing based on prescription. But we have medical doctors who are also will be tend to write these prescription drugs for people who will be using it for improper use. So, Mr. Speaker, this is something that we have to refer it to a committee to have a further engagement on how we as a country we will not go further, because if tramadol can cause a defect to our country, Lucenta will make it worse. So it's critical that we have a joint statement or direction coming from both the Minister of Health and the Interior Minister, and we'll look at what other countries have done that have dealt with this opioid crisis over the years. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, and I believe we can do a good job. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honourable members, let me take the last round, because we can't go on and on and on and on. Let me take the last round. So you are all yielding to Dr. Mack. So, Mack, let me hear you. Then.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. And I want to thank the Minister of Health for acting promptly to bring this statement to Parliament. I think we're discussing it on our platforms to ensure that we have such a statement on the floor of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, today's discussion is not new as such. Over the years, there have been drugs that has come into the system to destroy our youth, medical staff, etc. There was a time we had petidine, a drug that when you give yourself that injection, even though it's a painkiller, and it will also give you the symptoms that I'll soon be mentioning. After that, so many other drugs have come to pass, Toradol, and now it came to the turn of Tramadol. And now the people or those out there have realized that no, we have carried out a lot of education on tramadol. So they now want to change. They are bringing in new drugs that we don't know. We've not now, everybody now knows about tramadol because of the good education that we've carried out, even though it is still being used and abused. But they are bringing new drugs, tabendadol, carisoprodol, etc. These appear to be new, but their effect is the same. They will cause you depression, drowsiness, respiratory depression, that is difficulty in breathing, coma, and possibly you can even die. Let me stress the die. For people to know that today we are talking about drugs that can kill you by just taking them. Yes, there are medicines that have been approved in some countries and probably might be subjected to the same process in Ghana here. But there are medicines that need to be controlled. There are medicines that need somebody to prescribe for you and somebody to dispense. They should not be sold openly. And now they are finding their way into the country in quantities beyond what medical care needs. And I want to appeal to the Food and Drugs Authority that they should look at this problem holistically in approving any drug that will come into the society. Sometimes they are coming to do the same thing, and we already have a drug that is, providing that service. What is the need to bring in some new drugs? We should have statistics. We should know the amount of said drugs that are prescribed yearly for people, and know that, yes, if we bring in, let's say, 1,000 tablets of tramadol, that is enough for the patients in Ghana here. We shouldn't just allow that you can import any quantity because it's tramadol and tramadol is used at the hospitals. We should just bring in any quantity that we want. No, that should not be the case. We should have data, and out of the data, we should restrict the importation of said drugs. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Honourable members, leadership. Leadership, Honourable Anodompre.
Speaker, let me commend my friend for the statement. We want to be seeing more of this from the ministers. And earlier when he was in the House to make a statement on cholera and meningitis. And I know he's been very busy lately. I think professionals have spoken. I've heard Doc spoke, Honorable Divorce spoken. One thing that is clear is that we have to step up our monitoring. Our monitoring mechanisms have to be stepped up and not limited to this drug alone. There are other concerns similar. And so we should be able to pick these signals well ahead of time. So that, for me, that is the trust of the matter. And if we are able to do that, we'll be able to have good control. So we want to encourage our minister. I know he's passionate and very dedicated to duty. They have to push forward and make sure we step up our monitoring mechanisms. I couldn't have agreed more with my senior colleague when he mentioned our borders, what we can do to step up our borders, and also awareness creation for citizens who are manning our borders should know what we are talking about. What are these drugs or category of drugs, so that even they can identify them when they see them, if they're not carried along. So we will want to, I know the budget is now coming, but this is an emergency matter, an emergency. Speaker, we have to employ on the exchequer, who is also one of our own, the Honorable to force him. We will have to release some liquidity. I see my minister is distressed. Honorable Akando is distressed. He needs liquidity. He must be giving some liquidity. We are charging on him, as you say it, I will say it. We are charging on him to do more, to carry all the stakeholders along. He needs the liquidity. So the exchequer must be directed. Speaker, if you bear with me, I'll plea your consequential directives. The exchequer should be directed to release some funding. I know the previous government led some good funding. Should be giving some funding for him to hit the road running. Should lead the road, should hit the road and hit the grounds. Because this is a serious matter, and I hope that the health minister will be strengthened enough in all fours so that he will be strong enough to hit the road to ensure that we bring a good control of this matter. But I must commend him, and he should forgive me. I wasn't trying to prevent him from presenting his statement. It was on some other matters. He knows I would never do that to him. So Speaker, I thank you, and I think that we have to support him, give him all the needed support to be able to do what he has to do. I thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much. Majority Leadership.
Mr. Speaker, I will give the opportunity to Dr. Sander.
Okay, very well. Dr. Sander.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And thank you, Leader, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, a lot has been said. I also commend the Minister for Health for the very quick response in terms of coming to the House, to let us know and to let Ghanaians know about this issue of public health crisis that really needs urgent concern. Mr. Speaker, what we are discussing is the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot happening out there that has not yet come to attention. Thanks to the BBC that has revealed this menace. Mr. Speaker, we are dealing with drugs or substances that people, especially our youth, take to feel high. Mr. Speaker, why do they want to feel high? And why do they need a substance to feel high? Mr. Speaker, that comes due to unemployment. And that is one of the issues that we have to tackle. So the issue has to be tackled using multidisciplinary approach. Some youth take it to feel high, to do what they want, either to commit crimes. Mr. Speaker, some take these drugs to feel high, to have good sex. And some ladies feel good. They feel high on the road. Some of the people that would meet you on the road can shoot you. Don't just do it ordinarily. They do it because they feel high. Mr. Speaker, once again, I thank the minister and say that, like the minority chief whip has said, we need to invest in pharmacovigilance. It is not today that this menace has been happening, but we couldn't pick it up. meaning that we need to invest and support our regulatory bodies to have funding, adequate funding, to be able to do what the law mandates them to do. That is where the problem is. And I believe, I know, the Minister of Health is up to the task. When he was ranking member for health, he was pushing for adequate funding for FDA and other bodies. So I know His Excellency and the NDC government would work hard to strengthen FDA and other bodies to deliver. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you so much. Honorable members, I think the committees are not in place now, and I think it's good that the minister himself came to make this statement. And therefore, once he has sat in, listened to the comments of members, the issues that have been raised, the advice they've given, I think we'll take everything on board and see how best to address this issue.
Speaker, if you may indulge me, I was suggesting earlier, if it finds favor with you, that this is an emergency situation. And it's important we don't allow this to get out of hand. The man needs some support. Yes, the budget is coming next week. He needs some leaders. I can look at his body language. He has been struggling over the years. So if we may direct the Exchequer to release some support for him, especially on the account of stepping up on education.
Leader, I share your view, but I think the minister himself is here. The Exchequer, this will be his first distribution of the public purse. So let's allow the Exchequer this time around to do what is needful. I believe the Ministry of Health, as one of the important ministries, will be given what is needed. I believe so. Yes, Honorable Member for Abetifi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we have a public health emergency. Government is a continuous process. I don't think government has come to an end. It's an urgent process. We have funds in the contingency fund that today can be allocated to the minister to start working on this very important national emergency. We don't have to wait for, Mr. Speaker, if the budget is read on the 10th, we have to pass appropriation, the gift mills has to be loaded. We're talking about they start spending around April, end of April. But this is a national emergency that the minister must act on now. So, Mr. Speaker, with your direction, the minister and the finance minister can look for some funds. Mr. Speaker, you remember that when USAID cut funding to some health programs in this country, the president directed that the finance minister must look for some over $100 million to be given to the health ministry to bridge the gap to fund those health programs as denied by the USAID. And so government, as a continuous organization, for the lack of a better word, must find money for the health minister now to address this issue. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. But I believe the minister himself didn't. The power is more than yours. So are you happy with what your colleagues? Are you happy? Tell us. You're happy that your colleagues are fighting for you for more resources.
Mr. Speaker, they are fighting for Ghana, everybody. Mr. Speaker, this is an emergency situation, and I know we have a lot of constraints. It didn't start today, though, but since it's been exposed to the whole world, the world must see us taking some actions so that everybody will take us serious. And so I'm entirely in your hands. Thank you.
Do you want to say something? Majority leadership?
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, the minister is a cabinet minister, so I think he's better placed to have a good discussion with the finance minister so that interim they can put some numbers together to deal with the situation. So everything is under control. If a member made the statement, it could have been a different ball game altogether, but he is a minister, cabinet minister, so liaising with the Exchequer will never be a problem.
Honorable Majority Whip, I share with you. He's a cabinet minister. Should be able to share the issue with his colleague, the finance minister. Well, leader, I've heard you. So, Honorable, we have 4 statements. This is the way we are going to take the statement. The first one is going to be read by Honorable Kojo Ponkroma. The second one will be read by Honorable Beneza Koku Ado. The third one will be read by Honorable.
And that was the health minister updating members of the House on the use of opioids in the Tamale enclave. Now we're crossing over again to the vetting, where Deputy Minister of State Deputy Minister for the Ministry of Education, Clement Apak, is still answering questions.
Jerry. Honorable Jerry, you are the one standing between us and lunch. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. VMate.
Sharp.
So, Honorable Chair, so I have a very genuine observation. My observation is that we are at this stretch, we are at this point vetting deputy ministers. The normal excuse or cliche has been that, oh, I'm going to support my minister. We are all aware you are going to support your minister. But we also know that you are men and women who have enormous capacity to go and deal with the issues. So my suggestion is that when people are asked questions, they should answer the questions. And when they are unable to, just because they don't really have an idea, they should also say so. And that is fair to the Ghanaian community. Instead of the normal excuse that I am going to support the minister. Yes, we know. So do we have to go ahead and vet because you are going to support the minister, or we shouldn't go ahead and vet? And that, I think we should all take a cue respectfully. I believe Dr. Clement Apak has the capacity to respond to all the questions he's been asked to respond to. So if not, then when energy comes in, he's going to support his minister. So why are we going to ask him questions bordering on energy? If Agri comes, he's going to support his minister. So please, I know, I just want to have this intervention from Chairman.
Honorable Leader, that is what it says in the Constitution. The Deputy Minister is to go to the ministry to support his minister. If you ask a question and he wants to add more to it, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But that is the job description, is to go and support his minister. So I don't think the nominee will be wrong to say that I'm going to the ministry to support my minister, or whatever the policy direction is what he's going to follow. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I do not think that we are at variance. All I'm saying is that all the nominees that come in, they have the capacity to respond to the issues they've been asked. And that is why, in the wisdom of His Excellency the President, he nominated them. So what we are doing here is to test your capacity, or to confirm, basically. Anyway, let me go to my first question. Dr. Clement Apak, I suggest to you that PTA was never cancelled. What was cancelled was the levy.
Grateful, Mr. Chairman. As far as I know, the decision communicated was that we were no longer going to have PTAs. We're going to have PAs, parent associations. Parent associations. The teachers were not to be part. And the parents could decide to mobilize resources, or, if you like, play the functions that the PTAs that we knew before used to play. But the teachers were not to be part of it. So on that basis, if we say there were no PTAs and therefore we are introducing PTAs, we are right. We are saying parents and teachers can come together, dialogue, discuss, identify issues, and work at them. And it is on that basis that we have said that we are reintroducing PTAs, which is different from PAs. I'm grateful, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable nominee, examination malpractices are rampant in Ghana. They have largely marred the credibility of certificates or academic qualifications. Some people are called doctors when in fact they are not doctors. Some people have just found themselves at certain places because of examination malpractices. I know you are going to support your minister. I'm sure that will be the response. What are you bringing on board personally as someone with capacity? Or what are you going to suggest to your minister to do with reference to the issue at hand? Thank you very much.
I'm grateful, Mr. Chairman. Yes, I am not the minister. I'll be supporting the minister. But having worked on this issue somewhat, if you were to seek my opinion, one of the suggestions I would make would be for us to properly resource WAEC so that WAEC will be able to recruit and deploy its own invigilators. The other area that I may make a suggestion to the minister about with regards to this issue is for us to dialogue with WAEC to consider the serialization of the questions so that even in the same exam room, students would answer different questions on the same subject matter, which I think would thwart the effort of what we describe as exam room collusion. Because if all the questions are not the same, it will be difficult for those who collude to promote the malpractices to do so. I'm grateful, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable Chair, thank you for the opportunity.
Sorry.
I think this is a matter of national importance, and therefore, I would like my honorable colleague to know what we have done that they can follow. For example, BEC has gone through serialization. Different examination centers have different questions. That is what led to the situation where more practice at the BEC level has simply disappeared. But we want them to go further to a point when you will serialize within the exam room. And WAEC exams, certain subjects were serialized the last time. So the ministers of West Africa met about serialization across the countries. So we're on track to going to the WAEC International to make sure that within the classroom, different students will have different arrangement, at least. Your question 1 is my question 20. So that the idea of cheating within the exams room can be eliminated. So there's a way for WAEC to do this, but they also say that they need new equipment to ensure, digitalized equipment to ensure they can serialize. So I felt maybe this will help so that you build on it and take this examination malpractices out of the way. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. You want to?
Yes. Thank you so much, Chairman. A really very good initiative. But would you take on board too the yawning gap between city schools?
Honorable member.
Yes, ma'am.
You are not to ask any questions
No, it was a suggestion.
member around the table.
No, it's a suggestion.
Your questions should be directed.
Thank you so much.
To the nominee.
Very
So
well.
you are out of order.
Very well, Chairman. Chairman is an important one. Very important. Yes, can I go ahead?
Honorable Jerry, please continue.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. And that's a very good intervention. I pray we take it up. Yes, because the more practices are becoming way too many. I have, on a few occasions, met with my very hard-working teachers in Wage Agbawe. They've put across a few issues, one of which is their salary. Another is their teaching environment. And you'll be surprised that when I met them, none of them spoke about issues concerning themselves until I probed further. All the issues they raised were issues about their pupils. And I do not know if we have any award or reward system for maybe the best science teacher, the best maths teacher, and then the best female teacher. And issues of transportation. So I have a teacher who travels from Kwabenya to Wage Agbawe every day to come and teach. And they sometimes even come in and they are late. And they think that there are issues with reference to traffic and all. Honorable nominee, I know once again that you are going to support your minister. In this direction, how do you hope to support your minister?
Grateful. Yes, I am obligated to support my minister, and that I will do. But as somebody who is drawn from the academic environment, and as a rural person who represents a rural community, I can appreciate these issues. Matters to do with salary, obviously, have to do with releases on time and payments, and I know that will be dealt with. You are speaking about the quantum. Well, I cannot speak to that. I would make a case if given the opportunity, because I honestly believe that teachers are teachers are the most important in the scheme of affairs. All of us here in gathered are products of teachers. If I had my own pot of resources, I would pay teachers more than any other group of professionals, but I don't. That is my personal opinion. Teaching environment, yes, it needs to be improved. Transportation clearly would enhance the work of the teacher, teaching and learning. I mean, as rural MPs, I can relate to that. I have teachers who live in Sandema and have to come all the way to my village, Doninga, to teach on a daily basis. And sometimes they don't get a means of transport. And when they don't get a means of transport, that means that whole day, the children are going to go without tutoring. And I know that the NDC has a manifesto proposal to support teachers to be able to own their own means of transport. And I hope and pray that we would work with John Dramani Mahama as a nation to implement this policy. It will benefit all of us. I'm grateful.
You see, you have elaborate knowledge on all the things you're talking about. And so I'm very confident when I ask you a question. Although you are going in to support your minister. Doc, just flowing from this, can we consider teacher housing and then the emphasis on transportation? Because I am aware President Kufuor had such a policy for teachers and it was cancelled on the provision of transport to aid teachers for duty purposes or duty-bound purposes. Can we consider that? May you, or are you likely to consider advising your minister on this route?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I will do just that. I'm grateful.
Doc, the NDC's manifesto laid emphasis on, once voted for, they were going to embark on an emergency infrastructure drive. You remember that? And that what you intend to do is to complete abandoned E-blocks and expand infrastructure in existing SHS and TVET institutions. Please don't forget, my STEM school, which was started by the Honorable Minister here, is almost completed. How do you intend to finish that?
Grateful, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, as the Honorable Member indicated, the NDC presented a manifesto to the people of Ghana on the basis of which they gave your mama and the NDC the mandate. And I believe he will fulfill his promises. The almost complete STEM school in your constituency clearly will not be abandoned. I'm grateful.
Is that an assurance?
It will not be abandoned.
Honorable nominee, I also want to find out, in your view, so I'm indicating or placing emphasis, in your view, as Honorable Dr. Clement Apak, how would technology be used to enhance service delivery in your ministry, the Ministry of Education, where you are going to assist your minister?
Grateful, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, technology is already playing a very important and significant role in almost every facet of our lives. And the Ministry of Education is no exception. I would support my minister, who himself is technology savvy, having served previously as a Minister for Communication, in whatever way he believes we can deploy technology to improve our services to the good people of Ghana through the ministry as expected. I'm grateful.
So, Doc, do you perchance have any idea of e-learning, and how do you intend to optimize or upgrade that e-learning?
Can you expatiate?
E-learning. So this is where, unless you want me to define what e-learning is to you.
Yes, I'll be most grateful.
Well, e-learning is using technology to provide education to the pupils or to the students. And that also even includes digitalization and the use of technology. So I am asking, with respect to you, how do you intend to optimize or upgrade e-learning in its current form?
I'm grateful, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, this is a policy decision. And since I'm only going to support my minister, it will be inappropriate for me to take the wind out of his sails. As I indicated earlier, the minister himself is very technology savvy. In fact, on this subject matter, I don't think that he will need my guidance at all. So let's give him the benefit of the doubt to lead. And if he needs my support, I'll be available. I'm grateful.
Doc, the teachers' allowance, is it teachers' training allowance, has been scrapped? Is that the case?
Mr. Chair, the teacher trainee allowance has not been scrapped. I'm grateful.
Honorable members, please allow the nominee to answer the question. Thank you.
So, Doc, do you know or do we have your minister's assurance that it will not be scrapped?
Most grateful, Mr. Chairman. I have no reason to believe that it will be scrapped because the minister has not said it will be scrapped. I'm grateful.
Doc, football in secondary schools and, in fact, sports in general, one of the issues we've had currently with even our main sports is that the way we saw sports when we were growing up is not the same way it is currently patronized. Are you considering any new ways of generating interest in sports at the secondary level, at the basic school level? I mean, just last week, a group in Wager is one of the circuit groups. They had some sports program, but they did not even have any funding to do so. So I had to go in and support. But I want to find out, maybe.
Most grateful, Mr. Chairman. Sports is a very important activity, not just because it keeps us fit, but it's also a source of great entertainment. I have been a sportsman myself. I mean, I played volleyball. One of my playing colleagues is seated right by the chairman. I played football. I played table tennis. My younger brother, who is here, played basketball all the way to the national level. And you are right. It is not the way it used to be. And that should be a cause of worry. My minister is a sports enthusiast himself. He plays football himself. And I think the challenge we face, as you rightly alluded to, is funding and is inadequacy. Given that he's a sports person himself, I believe very strongly that he would find ingenious ways to get private sector involvement to support sports in our schools, even as we look at what we can do to provide some support as a nation for sport and sporting activities to go on in our school system. Sports cannot be neglected. A very important activity that ought to be supported. We all do it. We buy the footballs, the jerseys, and we provide the funding to support the district directorates of education to organize sporting activities. It's a problem that we must look at and address. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much. Dr. Park, I wish you very well. I know you are going to the Ministry of Education to fully support your minister. I wish you well in supporting your minister. V-mates.
Sharp. I will support my minister fully. I will support him the Bulsa way.
Thank you very much, Honorable Jerry. I will wrap it up honorable nominee. And I want to draw our attention, the nominee and the nominees to come, those who we're going to see today, and those who are watching us, and honorable members of this committee. I want to draw your attention to Article 79(1) of the Constitution. And with your indulgence, I read, "The President may, in consultation with a Minister of State and with the prior approval of Parliament, appoint one or more deputy ministers to assist the minister in the performance of his functions." Our job here as an appointment committee is to vet the nominee who comes before us, his background, experience, competence, and the skills that makes him a good fit for the role that he's been nominated, if this House approves of his nomination. So, to stay within time constraint, it is important, and there is time constraint, it is important that our questions address these areas and the answers from the nominee also respond to these areas. So, to go and support your minister is basically the job that you'll be doing. Of course, you have your own mind, you have your own views, which you may wish to express. But it is not upon you to be here and make policy decisions. That will be going against your minister, the substantive minister, had already been here. In fact, all substantive ministers. And any policy questions that they should address, they have adequately addressed them. So what we have heard here is what you are going to support. This is not just to you, but to all nominees and potential nominees who are to appear before us.
It's so prejudicial.
Thank you. And then,
It's so prejudicial. These are men and women of caliber. They can respond to the matters.
sorry.
He's a very nice man.
So be nice to me. So I will now proceed to read out the list that I have been given for the friends and family who came here to support you. And I'm reading the names I've been given, and I'm going to slow down so that I don't get certain names. Yes, mispronounced. So forgive me if my efforts doesn't end up to be adequate. The first name I have here is Mrs. Matilda Latte Apak, who is the wife of the nominee. I have the brother of the nominee, Professor Daniel Apak, also with us. And then I have Nap, Atap, Nguyen, Adela, Akambianap, Akambom, Dominga Chief. I have again Nap, Patrick, Awa, Ajuti, Bachong Sa Chief. I have again Nap, Akanta, Grewen, Akanku, the third, who is the Fumbisi Chief. Fumbisi Chief. Then I have here Caesar, Abianab, Akin Kang, Constituency Chairman of Bulsa South. Then I have Pastor Matthew Achang Welling. Then I have Honorable Roger Abolimbisa Akanta Grenon, who is a former colleague, a former MP for Bulsa South. And I have Ayarik, who is a Apangachan, who is the constituency vice chairman of Bulsa South. Then I have Pastor George Lati, who is a brother-in-law of the nominee. I want to say thank you to our guests for coming here to support our colleague who is the nominee this morning. On that note, Honorable nominee, congratulations. You are discharged. You will hear from the committee.
I'm most grateful, Mr. Chairman.
You can add the bye-bye if you so wish. Honorable members, we are breaking for lunch now, and we will appear back here at 2 o'clock to continue the vetting. Thank you very much, and thanks for your support.